Welcome to the King and Chapman Show. It is Thursday, May 16th, and I am Brent Chapman, and with me is the original Fab One, Jimmy King.
What's going on, B? How you doing this glorious Thursday evening?
I got to work on that, Jimmy. I want to get as good as the guy at the University of Michigan that would call you before the games. I think maybe that could be like a future profession for me. What do you think?
Hey, I think you have the voice for it for sure. And I think you got the personality for it. I think you have to project and, kind of give inflections on certain points in the name. I appreciate the way you call my name on the entrance. I think you have a future in it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep working on it. I think today it was like the inflections weren't exactly in the right place, but I'm going to.
But you got to make it your own. That's the best thing about you, B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You make it your own.
It's an original.
You're not scared to step outside the box, color outside the lines.
Yeah, exactly. So what you got going on? What up, bro?
What up, bro? Ain't nothing happening. Went from hot to cold. I don't know what's going on. The weather is acting a little funny. Like we had a nice little cold front, come through. But everything else is good. Working on a couple of projects that got thrown my way.
All right.
But it's all good. It's all good. It's all about helping others.
Now that I like to hear. You have always been somebody who's helping out. I think it wasn't that long ago you were a poll watcher or helping out at the polls for the elections. I think it was a couple months ago. That's really awesome.
Serving your registration,
Jimmy. Making sure there's some enforcement going on at the polls.
Absolutely.
No tomfoolery.
Respect a harmony on both sides. Respect each party.
That's
Democrat
right.
or Republican, independent.
Local elections, it's supposed to be just, I thought it was kind of unaffiliated in a lot of the local elections, right? Isn't it? Like school board and stuff. There's no party affiliation. So it's really just keeping people in line at the polls in Plano, Texas, which I know can get a little rowdy at times.
But it's more than that. As a clerk, you take their information. You check them in.
That's all.
Yeah,
run it through the computer.
And then, you point them to the computer, and then you make sure they cast their votes. You don't really touch the ballots, and you hand them a sticker. And everybody likes to take pictures with their stickers.
That's cool. That's awesome. And you obviously help them if they need help, like figuring it out, right?
Oh yeah, well, you get curbside for people for the handicap or people who. The elderly or senior citizens who aren't able to or aren't as mobile, so they could drive up and call a number when they reach the curbside.
You know what I always say, Jimmy? It's important to go vote. Don't complain.
Absolutely.
If you don't vote. Well, that's what it is. That's your right.
Listen, if you want to say something to anything, you better be a participant.
Yeah. Don't
throw stones from the sideline.
Yeah.
Don't throw rocks in the glass house.
Not vote and then complain. Well, I didn't have any part in that.
No. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, in general.
Right.
In general, that's just how the society is generally.
King and Chapman Show endorses voting. Go
Absolutely.
vote.
Go out and vote.
With that said, Jimmy, we have got lots to talk about today. And I thought we are starting with, what are we starting with? I'm looking at this, Nate. I got to get this right. We are starting with the Boston Celtics have earned a third straight trip to the Eastern Conference Finals. But here's what's more impressive. 6 times in the past 8 years. Now, to be fair, Cleveland was playing without Donovan Mitchell for the last 2 games. Guard Karis LeVert, the starting guard, and Jared Allen, their starting center. So that's not a great recipe to beat the Celtics, but either way, the Celtics got it done. Jimmy, tell me, are you impressed by a third straight Eastern Conference final?
Absolutely. The goal at the beginning of the year is to get to the finals, and now they're in the conference finals. And 6 out of 8 years is a great accomplishment. The story Celtics adding on to their long resume of basketball history. But with that being said, they haven't won it. And, at a certain point, even the Boston Celtic faithful are going to look at this team and be like, well, okay, well, let's deliver on something bigger. We've seen you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now we want to get to the finals and win the finals. That's ultimately the goal, because that's what history says, especially for Boston.
But do you think, Jimmy, that it's a pretty impressive feat to make it 3 times in a row?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, again, like I said, so we talk about, 3 peats. It's hard to do it once. They've done it 3 times. So, it is an accomplishment. But for any other team, it will be an accomplishment. Most teams. But when you're the Boston Celtics and you have a franchise that has banners, I don't even know how many they have in the rafters now. 17, 18.
You expect to win.
So Eastern Conference Finals just isn't going to cut it for a town, a city that's used to winning it all.
Yeah, the Boston fans aren't going to be satisfied with a couple Eastern Conference Finals.
And if the Bruins aren't they still battling too? If they lose too, it's a problem.
I don't know. We got to get back. We got to. I think Monday, Jimmy, we should do an NHL playoff.
Yeah, we got to do an update.
Yeah,
see if Boston is really,
So
they may be the town thumping right now.
Yeah, that's right. Here's my thought, Jimmy, is, as a Bills fan, I often struggle with this of how impressive was 4 straight AFC championship wins. In my mind, that was incredibly impressive.
Right. Absolutely.
One game, so they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, but that's literally one game in the whole season. And yes, it was the last game. And yes, it's disappointing they couldn't get one of those. But they made it 4. That means they won the AFC, the old AFL, 4 straight times.
Respect.
They were the champions 4 straight times through the whole season. And I think that's incredibly impressive. So, yeah.
And people, people want to raid on people's parade. I mean, that's a great accomplishment. Again, if you break it down, at the end of the year, you're one of 4 teams remaining.
Correct.
That's an accomplishment. You're in the Final 4. That is something that every single team should strive to do. You just didn't win it. It's the same with LeBron. People want to act like LeBron's 10 NBA Finals is not an accomplishment. That's the reason why he's one of the greatest players of all time. It's because of that. He's not the greatest, in my opinion, but he deserves to be in that conversation because of that.
I totally agree, and I might be biased by this, but I think any sort of like this 3 straight Eastern Conference Finals is impressive. It's an 82-game season. It's hard. It's really hard. It's not easy.
Yes.
And these guys pulled it off. Big props to the Boston Celtics. But let's talk about the team they beat. A little banged up, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, not Cavaliers. After Cleveland saw their season end with a 113-98 loss and some of their star players injured and out, where are we at? What's next for them? Their head coach, JB Bickerstaff, said after the game that he wants to continue coaching and being the team's head coach. Of course, what coach wouldn't say that? And, with Donovan Mitchell, he was acquired about a year and a half ago, some first-round picks. He's had back-to-back All-Star seasons after coming over from Utah. He became the second Cavalier ever to score at least 25 points in 6 consecutive playoff games, other than LeBron James, obviously. And now he has a choice to make, right? He has to decide whether he wants to commit to Cleveland. He only has 1 year left before a player option, and he could potentially sign a 4-year, $208 million extension with the Cavaliers if he wanted. So he's got some big decisions. The team's got some big decisions. Jimmy, what's next for the Cavs?
Well, priority has to be to sign Spider Mitchell back.
It's not the coach. It's not Bickerstaff.
Well, absolutely. Well, I was starting with him, but definitely you have to have Bickerstaff come back as well. I believe. I think he's clearly.
Who's more important of those two? It's got to be Spider, right?
Definitely. I think it's Donovan. For the standpoint that not only is he the best player, but he motivates the team. He's an unselfish player, but what he brings in the locker room, you could see that as he sits on the bench and he's clearly involved in the game, and players are coming over and conferring with him versus the coach and what to do. And so he's clearly that guy that they respect and has the ear of the team in the locker room. So, he's the player and the coach in that situation. But you do have to bring JB back. I respect JB a lot. His father was a great coach. I played for his father, Bernie, and he was an exceptional guy as well.
Where did you play for Bernie at?
Bernie was he was with the Nuggets.
That's right.
The Denver Nuggets.
So long history there. I think that, the Cavs have to obviously they got to get Mitchell locked up in a contract, right? He's just incredible, and he proved that. They have to get him some help. They have to get him some help. Like the Knicks went and got Porzingis and got some stuff to try to help out Brunson. They have to put somebody around him that can, I think we're really seeing an interesting dynamic with the Mavs, which we're going to get into next, right? With Luka, right? So you have this situation where you've got a really great player and you've built a solid nucleus around him, like the Mavs have. But you've got to have that other guy that can step up. The star can't do it all. There has to be somebody else that can be there in the moments where the star, is down, or he needs another guy to pick it up, right? There has to be a Kyrie. They need another guy to pair with Donovan Mitchell if they want to make it to the next level.
Absolutely. Well, look at what a couple of the players did. For the Cavaliers the other night. They didn't give up. I think people wrote them off like they were going to get blown out, and they kept it a game for the majority of the contest. So you have pieces there, and I think we do get caught up in like wanting a sexy Robin to the Batman on the team, and someone that has been an all-star somewhere else, but is willing to come in and play second fiddle, in a different market. It's not that easy.
No,
the numbers have to match up, as far as salaries, and then therefore you're depleting part of the bench that you've already built or you've been trying to build to support the team. So you back, at square one again when you have these superstars but no surrounding talent. So I think you're better off developing the talent that already is in the system, that's playing within the system, and then hopefully you at one point get a Kyrie Irving like Dallas did. and it worked out for them. But I think to make that a strategy is a 2-3 year plan.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I disagree that I think they have to. They've built this sort of solid core around him. They've got a good bench. They've got a good supporting team. They need that Kyrie. They need that piece. So let's move along to the Mavericks, where they have Kyrie, right, and Doncic, and they did it, Jimmy. We got it. We got the win. We're up 3-2. I was nervous. They were up 18 with about 4 minutes left.
You got the best duo in the league.
I know, but Jimmy,
look at it.
They were up 18.
They look happy. Look at it. They hugging on the court. Nobody hugs on the court.
Jimmy, they were up 18. I stepped away to get a glass of water, and I came back, and they were now only up 7.
It's the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they hung on. They hung on. I was nervous, but they kept it together. Kyrie actually made some shots down the stretch. Doncic actually made some down the stretch. So we're on fire now, Jimmy. Is this it? Will the Mavs close out the series in Game 6 back in Dallas?
Yes.
Let's roll.
It's over.
Over. All right.
Over. Dallas is taking it home. They're going to the conference finals by beating SGA and the number 1 seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. Luka, Magic, and Kyrie Irving, along with support, a great support. You know, Washington has really been playing his tail off. Lively's been playing well. And one thing about the Mavericks that I don't think they get a lot of credit for is their defense. They stepped up their defense. They're tough. They're physical, which is, you know, not really seen a lot in today's era. And I think they're having fun, which is also telling. So, you know, let's go Mavs.
The Mavs have, in my opinion, dominated the last few games in this series. It should be over, minus their puking on themselves 2 games ago when they were up and just fell apart in the last couple minutes of the game. So I think this is done. I don't think they go back to Oklahoma. I think the Mavs go and rest, and they turn around and have to play the winner of this Game 6. Jimmy, you and I were hoisting the trophy for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and oh no, Jokic said, "I'm the MVP, biatch." And he has now won 3 straight to take the lead. Jimmy,
champion,
Nuggets close it out in Game 6.
Champion sweep, down 2, 4 in a row. Told you the Nuggets, baby. Listen, you got a great coach in Malone who wasn't scared to shake up the lineup. And you know, this late in the season, which is a credit to him. Took a little backlash for that, but it was needed, as you can see. And then you got the MVP, who is the MVP, and he showed us why he's the MVP. He was taking shots from outside, inside, dime. He had 13 assists and 40 plus points.
Ugh.
That's like Wilt Chamberlain running point. Like, he's out there, you know, creating a whole nother stat line for himself, and centers in particularly.
Well, so you got it. You're saying champion sweep. They're gonna win it. You got a lot.
It's over. It's a wrap. I don't know what Minnesota could do. Like, they came out, jumped on them 2-0, punched them in the mouth, staggered them a little bit. And Denver got up like the champs they are, and was just like, you know what? They didn't flinch at all. Well, yes, they did a little bit. Murray flinched a little bit, but
he threw a heat pack.
But Jokic, yeah, you don't get a pass for that. I get it. We all get frustrated. It's happened to us.
Lucky too, because he should have been.
You can't. Yeah, you can't do that.
He should have been suspended for Game 3, and I think that.
I don't know about a suspension. I mean, he took $100,000 fine.
Look, You guys can
you know what I mean? That's a lot of
go back. You can check clips.
Steaks
Jimmy and I argued this 2 weeks ago or last week about that should have been suspended. I said he should have been suspended. Jimmy said he shouldn't have been. But I will say this, Jimmy. I'm going to go opposite you. I'm going to say that Rudy Gobert and Carl Anthony and Ant-Man and Nas and the rest of the guys, Michael Conley is gonna.
Well, they do have Mike back.
Circle. They're gonna.
I think Michael make the difference.
They're gonna get in a big huddle in the locker room. They're gonna look each other in the eyes. They're gonna say, "We had this. We can beat these guys. We got our home fans out there." And they're gonna put their hands in the middle and they're gonna power up and they're gonna beat the Nuggets and force a game 7.
You know what they're doing? You got half of that right. They're in the locker room right now. They putting their hands together and they locking up. They looking at each other and they like,
I got half of that right.
Which one? Who's stopping Jokic today? That's what they're doing. They trying to figure out who's gonna stop the Joker. Because that kid is putting up. I mean, you got to take away one another. You can't let him score and create. Like he's doing what he's imposing his will on those guys, and that's why he's the MVP. But as far as Ant-Man, I mean, we've seen him get 43 and lose. What is he going to have to do? Get 60?
Now I got to tell you this, Jimmy. When I made that statement a minute ago, getting in the circle and looking each other in the eyes and go out there and just blow them out, I didn't actually know what was going on in the game. So there's 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are up 26-11.
Oh, yeah, so no problem. It's early. Right. They're the champions. It's a full game, baby. They're riding off emotion right now. You know what's going to happen? It's just like like kids when they go to the amusement park, they're all over the place. You can't control them. But as the day goes on, you start to see them wind down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Give them some watermelon, some water, and put them in the cot. They out of here.
Jimmy,
they're gonna walk them down.
Let me ask you one final question. Do you think Anthony Edwards walked into the Nuggets locker room before the game up to Jokic and said, "Lace him up, bro, let's go"? I'm going to say no.
He may not have did it that way. He might have instead of walking in and walking up, he may have poked in and be like, "We're not going out easy tonight," and kept it moving.
All right. I don't know if I would dare go in there. All right, moving along. More basketball, talking about great players and great shooters. I want to talk about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's debut, number 1, and I think you spelled Caitlin wrong, by the way. I'm not sure, Nate. Caitlin Clark, the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. And they do this fast, Jimmy. Not like these other sports. They get drafted and then the season starts 2 weeks later.
Right.
So number 1 pick in the draft, debut game last night, 2.1 million people watched this game. I just want to give you an idea that this was the most watched WNBA game since 2001.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Now, Caitlin Clark had kind of a rough start in the first half. She turned the ball over 10 times, finished 5 of 15 shooting with 20 points, but she still got 20 points, and she still had this debut. And, before I ask you this question, Jimmy, because I think I know your answer, I'm going to also say this, that she played in the national championship game a few weeks ago that was the highest rated women's national championship game and had a higher television rating than the men's championship at 18 million viewers. So, Jimmy, tell us, is Caitlin Clark and the WNBA must-watch TV?
Hell yeah!
All right.
You know why?
There we go.
Do you know why? I'm watching it. No, really. I mean, it's in the numbers. 2.1 million, highest ever in 23 years. Just a few weeks ago, she had the NCAA tournament. I mean, the product of women's basketball has always been great. It's always been special. It's just that it's just now coming into its marketability that everybody is starting to see it. And so that's why I appreciate what Caitlin has done and doing for the sport, particularly in women's basketball. You also add that the effect that she also has had is that now in the WNBA, they have charter planes. That is also an effect for Caitlin Clark, her coming into the league. So, shout out to I won't call them old, you don't call ladies, old, but the seasoned veterans who are also been great ambassadors for the game. I think tonight or tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, she's going against Breanna Stewart, who's one of my favorite players in the WNBA. Yeah. That girl is cold. She's a Reina MVP. So, Caitlin only scoring 20 points, but having 10 turnovers. I mean, she's going to get better. It's her first game. The speed is different. The strength is different. There's certain things that you could get away with in college that you can't do in the pros. So, yeah, she has a great upside and obviously marketability to grow the game.
I 100% agree with you. And I do kind of agree that women's basketball has always been great. I think it's super great right now. I think it's better than it ever has been. And I'm going to tell you why. Not to take anything away from the players of the past. And there's been some great players in the past. But right now, it's kind of one of those eras. It's the same thing in the NBA. Sometimes you have these eras where, like the Allen Iverson years, it was a little lean. I mean, we were talking about Stephon Marbury and like Latrell Sprewell, right? Like it was a little lean on the talent side. But then you got those years.
Oh, no, you just named some great players.
Barkley and Elijah and Malone and Miller. And you got times in these leagues where it's stacked, and it's stacked right now in women's basketball. Yes. And I think that's what makes it exciting. I also think people are starting to pay more attention to it. But I personally, and I hope no one holds this against me, other than the NBA playoffs, in these games going on right now, I would rather watch the WNBA. It's more entertaining and fun for me to watch on a night in, night out basis.
I'm not mad at that. Yeah. I'm not mad at that at all. Because
NBA playoffs right now are great. But
absolutely.
Game 47 in Sacramento is not great. It's not. It's not.
I don't know. There's some great, you're not always going to get the highest levels just because, it may be a back-to-back or, a lot of traveling in between. So it's just not that high level intensity that you get in the playoffs. So, you kind of feel that. But the women's game, when I was growing up, even, in the 70s, 80s, when discussing the game of basketball, when people would ask me how should they get better or how do they get better, I always said to them to watch women's basketball.
That's right.
Because
it's more fun
even though they're athletic and they're great athletes, they don't cheat the game using their athletic ability, meaning that they don't cut corners typically. So you'll see a proper way to run an offense, to make an entry pass, to play angles, and to use your body to get shots and to use your body when you defend people. So they're physical, they're highly competitive, and I think it's a great game. And we're just now seeing it now, with the marketability and particularly with Caitlin.
And by the way, shout out to the early 90s women's basketball movement as well. There's a
No
great
doubt.
documentary.
Shoot, that Houston Comets team, they won 4 championships in a row. Or, back to back to back.
Jimmy, we should call up our friend Nancy Lieberman, and we should ask her 2 questions. One, we should ask her to come on this show with us at some point and talk about women's basketball. And number 2, we should ask her to go to a Dallas Wings game with us, because I have actually not been to a local game since they started playing.
That's a deal. You can make that happen.
I can make that happen.
I'll call Nancy. That's my girl. She's always been a great advocate and a great friend of the family, going back to my high school days. And here's a tidbit. She loved me so much, and that's why I appreciate Nancy. That's why I love Nancy. That back then, and I should have listened to you, Nancy. She was like, this kid in high school is good enough to go straight to the league. I should have listened to her. I should have listened to her. I should have been one of the first to jump ship.
Jimmy, have 5, baby. Don't break.
I know 5 times till I die.
Heart.
5 times till I die. All day. But I did a lot of sacrifice. I should have went ahead and, took the bizzles.
That talking breaks my 12.
AKA the bag.
You would have ruined my 12-year-old.
Hey, what's meant to be is meant to be. I'm not complaining at all. We just talking what is. But that's why I love Nancy, because, she gave me that love and that praise, and that gave me a lot of confidence.
That's a great segue, Jimmy, to talk about something that I think is kind of quite comical, if you ask me. Odell Beckham Jr. is a 10-year veteran receiver. Look at him. Look
at that suit, boy. Hey, you got that taco meat up there showing. The nice dog chain.
3 Pro Bowls, Super Bowl champion with the Rams, has signed with the Miami Dolphins, where he will assume a role behind Tyreek Hill, best receiver in the league, Jalen Waddle, very good receiver.
Yeah, not bad.
and he will be the 3rd guy. Now, here's what he said. I think we will all just push each other. And
that's what you want.
Place in my life and career, I haven't been the number 1 in a minute. It gives you a sense of peace. I feel like I used to carry a lot of anger or resentment or whatever it was. Now I just feel peace.
Jimmy, that's beautiful.
Jimmy, do you really believe that OBJ is at peace with being the 3rd option for the Miami Dolphins?
Yes.
Oh,
I do. I do. I think that he's had enough experience in the league. He's been through this enough. He's changed teams enough. He's got the accolades. He's got the Super Bowl. He's made his money. He's fought through injuries. At this point in the game for him, yes, I believe what he's saying right now. I believe that when he showed up in his all-white, double-breasted, taco meat hanging out, Gucci link.
Let's see that fresh look.
You know what I'm saying? I think.
Oh, look at those.
Yeah, woo, that's cold right there. Yes, I believe him. I think he, at this stage in the game, I think he understands the dynamic and how team dynamics work, and going down there with a lot of high expectations. I think Miami is expected to be very good this year, and particularly with that wide receiver core, they're going to do some special things. And I feel like, now he can really be a part of it, go into a season without any real drama, no injuries, and some high expectations. So shout out to OBJ for growing in the game.
Well, Jimmy, I will agree that I think that right now he is at peace. I think
until he doesn't he's only a target for like
I think
once or twice a game.
Yeah, he's gonna be yapping at noodle arm Tua to throw him the ball a little bit more. And I don't. You can say what you want, dude. No, there is no way,
man. Hey, hold on. First of all, my man Tua does not have a noodle arm. Okay,
God, that ball floats like a duck in the summer. That guy is shot. He should have retired.
Retired. He just started. God bless him. He went through some horrible injuries that you may occur by playing such a violent and fast sport like football.
I agree.
Yeah. But through the graces of the football gods and the creator himself, he's able to continue playing, noodle arm and all.
We should call this out, Jimmy, just to be fair. Bills Mafia is not going to say anything positive about Megala Noodle Arm. All right? That's it. That's where we're at. So, Jimmy, that's it for the show. That was I hope everyone enjoyed watching that, but now we got to get to the last word. I am going to go first and say that the Wolves are now up 35-21 midway through the second quarter, and I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to be calling Jimmy in about an hour and a half saying, get ready for game 7, bro. What you got, Jimmy?
And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say we walk some down. That's what they're doing. Don't get overhyped right now. It's a long game. Do you really think that they're going to hold the Nuggets to 20 points a quarter?
They're going to get in that huddle at halftime, and they're going to
I don't believe the huddle. I believe they're still looking around like they missing shots.
This time, Jimmy, they're not just going to put their hands around each other's shoulder. They're going to go head to head.
No, they're like, oh my God, we missed a shot.
Forehead to forehead. Ant is going to be breathing in the go-bird.
We're going to be like, let's get it off the board. Let's go. They missing shots. Let's go. Because that's the best thing they could do. If the Nuggets are missing shots, the young Wolves are going to outrun them. That's their advantage.
They're gonna find it. They're gonna pull it. Inner wolf. Woo! Wait, that's not it. How do I do a wolf? Ow!
Oh,
there we go. Ow! They're gonna find their inner wolf. Oh, look at that.
But I'm a dog. Oh!
There we go. All right, I think this is it, Jimmy. I think this is a good place to stop the show. Like, please stop the show now. All right, that's it.
Take my crown off.
Thank you, Jimmy. Peace.
Peace.